All right, guys. So tonight we have a quick project. We have a radio transmitter and receiver here. And what we want to do is we want a motor to go left and right when we turn this stick. And we want a relay to come on and off when we flip one of these toggle switches. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out which channel this joystick is on. We started up our thing. We'll go into the configuration. Okay. And we're going to go down into sticks mode. And we can see that channel 4 is going to be this action here. All right. Now, I'm not entirely sure what output this gives. So first we're going to power the receiver. And there's a little, you can see that this top thing here is the battery, and then there's like it's got anything really sharp to point with here. So negative plus signal is the key all the way down. So we have our negative and plus going to our Arduino, negative and plus. Boom! And now for our channel 4, I think it was. So I'll plug this one in, and these are like the negative to male to female jumpers. So I'll plug this into the signal, which is the far out column of channel 4. And then I'm going to write a little bit of code and have it spit some information out as we play with the joystick. All right. The first thing we're going to do is double check that our receiver has enough power and that we can move a servo as designed. Like just shut off. So and make sure we're on the right channel. So I have this servo plugged into channel 4. I'm powering the receiver off the Uno's, and I can go left is right. All right, so we have our receiver all wired up now. We have our channel 4 going to one of our PWM inputs. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our computer real quick. This is an old XP test machine. We see our Uno's on COM4. And here's just a really, really simple, small little program. We set our pin 3 to input. We read our pulse in, and then we're going to print out our value. So we've already uploaded that to the board. We're going to bring up we've set our board as an Uno, and we're set our serial port as, well, it's not exactly coming up right now, but it's set on, there we go, set on COM4. So we'll bring up our serial monitor. Now my controller is off at the moment, so it's giving us a value of 0. No singing. We turn it on. Our stick is centered, so we're around 1490. Now I'm going to peg the stick all the way to the left, and we go down to about 1000. And I'm going to peg the stick all the way to the right, and we go up to about almost 2000. So, and then if I go halfway in between, we get kind of a variation. So you could actually, I'm just going to do an on and an off, right and or left, but we could also do like speed control as we go. All right, so now we're ready to wire up the H-bridge and control our motor. All right, so we're building on the previous example. We saw the receiver set up and going into one of the pulse width modulation ports so that we can read the signal that comes in. And now we have the driver board set up. So basically, we have our power supply. We have at about 12 volts. So we have our positive power. We have our negative ground. And we also have tied that into our Arduino ground. So everything's on the same ground. And now we're using, this is a 2 driver board. We can drive 2 different DC motors or 1 stepper. So these leads go to our motor, and it's a geared down motor. So if I'm going to spin really fast, because that's what I need for this project coming up. So basically you need at least 2 of these lines hooked up. So it's like enable pin, and then the next 2 are the direction pins for this port. If they're both low, it doesn't go anywhere. If one's low and one's high, then it goes one way. And then if you flip them, then it goes the other way. So, and then the enable line, basically what we do is we flutter it on and off, using pulse width modulation to control speed. So, right now it's not receiving any signal, so there's nothing happening with the motor. I'm going to turn on my receiver, and so now we're we set like a center stick dead position where nothing happens. And if I move the stick to the left, it starts to spin to the left. And it's proportional. The more I spin it, the faster or slower it goes. And then I'm going to do the stick to the right, and slow and fast. So I'm going to show you the code for this in just a second. We'll be back. All right, so here is the code for what we were just looking at over there. So basically, when you set up a couple pins, our enable line is a pulse width modulation, and so is our RC channel. RC channel is set to an input, and all the rest are set to outputs. The mem here is our main loop, and first we're going to read the pulse in to see what the RC for, the RC channel for is giving us back. We're going to print that out to the standard input. If the value is 0, that indicates no signal, and we're going to make sure that our motor is completely off. We don't want to do anything if it's not getting the signal. We mapped out our values earlier, and we remember that anything greater than 1530, one's going to be a right stick indication, and it just went up from there. So we're mapping that from 0 to 255. So basically, whatever, if it's in this range, it's going to be mapped between 0 to 255. And then we're going to use that as our output for our speed control. And so basically, we have the end 1 and the end 2. We're basically going to just set those between low and high. Control one direction. And then over here, next one, if it's below 1460, then we are going to map it again between 0 and 255. We reversed it because the farther left we go, to lower the number, which indicates a higher speed. So we've just mapped it kind of inverse. And here you can see that we toggled those between high and low, whereas they were low and high up here. And then we suck a speed, and we're setting left stick. And then there's a dead range. If it's, if it's between these two ranges, if it's between 1460 and 1530, the mistake is centered. And you have to have kind of a range, and you can set how much of the dead zone you have in your controller. So depending on how sensitive or how well your stick centers, or there's always going to be variation in what it's reading. So we're going to fire this alpha and take a look at it on this side. So we're going to turn on our serial monitor. Right now you can see channel 4, 0, no signal. So I'm going to turn on the controller. All right, so now the stick is centered. It's outputting the values for us, so we can kind of get some debug output here. And now I'm going to go right. And okay, so now we're right stick and kind of a low number. And I'm going to keep going up. And now we're like almost maxed out. Then you can see what the raw value is and what the mapped value is. So now we're going to go right to center. And then we'll do it again to the left, slight left, hard left. And that's how we get our speed control in left and right stick and spin our motor in 2 different directions. Doesn't take a whole lot of code, just a little bit of playing around to get it right, to its case. Forgot that we were going to also do a relay based on a button position. I think I'm actually going to use this one here, which, if this focuses, is called switch D. So in order to figure out what channel that's on, or to configure the channel that it's on, I'm going to go back into the menu. I think from your setup to mem talks channels. And then we can see that here we've set channel 5 to be switch D. And I can rotate those. You can change it to be whatever you want. So we want switch D, channel 5. Okay. Cancel. So now we're set up for that. So when we flick this switch, channel 5 is going to do something, and we're going to figure out what that is. All right, so we're back into our sample code. We just added one more pin. We've added our switch D on pin 5, which is again another pulse width modulation capable port. We've set it to an input, and then we just read it again with the pulse in the same way we did with the RC channel. And that's going to give us our switch value. So here what we'll do, we'll bring up the serial monitor, right? Controller's off, everything's reading the signal. We'll turn it on. We can see that our switch is giving us a reading of like just under 1,000. I'll flip the switch, and now we're almost up to 2,000. So we know what the on-off values are. and we'll be able to activate our relay from our Arduino based on that. All right, so that was pretty simple, and thanks for watching.